Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal the New Normal presents Paranormal Primetime. I am your faithful host, Jeremy, joined as always by my faithful co-host, Malachi.
How's it going?
And folks, do we
Hey,
have an episode?
we were
What?
talking about it off air, but what are we doing next week? Are we doing it Wednesday or Friday or?
I uh, I was gonna talk to you about it at the end of this, but uh, I mean, Friday. Actually, no, Friday. Oh, yeah, should Friday should be good, I think.
Okay, a Black Friday special episode next week.
Yes. Uh, but well, folks, we have two good episodes to talk about this week, so let's get right on into it because this is gonna be we got some fun shit to talk about. So Malachi's up first as always.
Forgot to write down the episode number, what episode and title, but I took notes this week.
Well, Malachi's episode is season 4, episode 17. It's a Terrible Life.
Okay, and
you
this
have
is.
do you have the writer and director or no?
I don't have that either.
Written by Sarah Gamble and directed by James L. Conway.
Gamble's a normal voice.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I would say this is, well, let's just get into it. We hear an alarm, and Dean starts getting ready for work, except it's totally different. He's like getting suspenders on and all this shit. So he's driving to work, and all of a sudden there's this metal that plays on his radio, and he gives a sour face and turns off the radio to NPR Morning Edition. Not a bad choice in 2009. That's how I found out about Bitcoin back then. But so he's going into this high rise, and we see as he walks into this office that it says Dean, Director of Marketing and Sales, Dean Smith. So automatically we think this is some sort of alternate universe or something else is going on. Dean's having a salad for lunch and talking to people about the newest diet fad of the time, drinking turmeric water, some crazy crap. So not a normal Dean thing going on here. We see Dean working through the day. He stays late. He's leaving way after it's dark. And he walks into an elevator. And that's when Sam is in the elevator. And Sam asks Dean, "Do I know you?" And, Dean looks at him like he's a fucking weirdo and thinks he's hitting on him. And he says, "Try it at the health club, buddy." So we switch to Sam, and he's working in a cubicle in tech support for printers, I think. I don't know what he had a couple printer calls. And we find out his name is Sam Wesson. So we got Dean Smith and Sam Wesson. Dean Smith and Wesson. I didn't get that until right now.
Me either. Until you said that out loud, I was like, wait a minute.
And so Sam's working in the call center. He's got this buddy in the cubicle across from him, and his buddy's yak, and he's talking about asking one of the ladies on the in the cubicle out, and Sam, I guess this lady's an old lady, where he says, "A gum milk." So, like old, 60 or something. They're off to their usual, like, fucking around coffee break, and they see another one of their buddies that normally goes on the coffee break with him, but dude's freaking out, just trying to get work done, where Sam's other friend says he had to go to HR for porn last week, so I'm assuming he's trying to, catch back up so he's not getting fired. So when they're in the coffee room, Sam's buddy asks him about his dreams, and Sam doesn't want to talk about his dreams or whatever. But Sam flashes back to his dream as he's telling his buddy, and he says he had dreamed that he had saved a Grim Reaper named Tessa from a demon. And that's when his friend just starts fucking laughing, cracking up, talking shit to him. Then we have a Sam back at his cubicle where he sort of passes out at work, and flash to the '06 timeline. So just basically the first season type thing. Back at the elevator, he knows where he's seen Dean all of a sudden, and he awkwardly asks Dean, like, "Hey, what do you think of ghosts?" And Dean's kind of blowing him off. Vampires? Ghouls? Like all this shit. And that's when Dean tells Sam that he overshares as a person, and he should not do that.
I love the way he does that too. I don't know you, but I'm gonna do everybody a favor. Like, it's such a dick move.
It would be weird, dude. That is the type of person you try to avoid in the fucking elevator. It works perfect. But then we see Sam's other buddy, or his original like cubicle buddy that he's actually talking to, has to go to HR. And Sam, at the time the dude tells him, Sam's like Googling vampires and getting all the like movie vampires and shit, which will come in later. But his other friend, Paul, the one that was all stressed out, he freaks out because he loses like an email or something, and he's staying all night.
His computer, he lost everything. His computer crashed.
Yeah, and he stays well after everybody leaves, and he's trying to get all the shit back. And then it's late. There's not even the janitor there, and he finally just says, "Fuck it." He walks up to the break room, breaks the forks off of, or the little prongs off of a plastic fork, shoves it in the microwave safety rail thing, and then microwaves his head for 10 minutes, which that'd be a pretty shitty way to go.
Yeah, that'd be painful as fuck.
Yeah. So, back in the elevator in the morning, Sam and Dean are having some more weird eye contact. Let me flip my page here. And, they all see the guy's dead. So Sam and Dean are both there. Everybody, the whole office, everybody's looking at, the dead guys. They're taking them out. And Dean goes upstairs to his office and investigates the Paul guy who microwaved his head, and found out that he was 2 weeks away from retirement. And then we cut to Sam and his other buddy saying the same shit. And friend is an uptight nut and goes up to 22 to speak to Dean. Oh, okay. So then Dean calls Sam because he was talking about all this ghost shit and has him come up to his office. And the other guy, his other friend, ends up having to go to no. Dean calls Sam's other friend up to his office, and they're talking, and he's like freaking out because Dean just wanted him to rewrite some sort of paperwork thing, and he starts freaking out. And he freaks out and then goes into the bathroom, and this is where Dean sees his cold breath, and then all of the sinks turn on, and it starts leaking blood out over the sink there. And the dude just stabs himself in the throat with a pen. And at this time, right after the guy stabs himself in the throat, Dean sees like this old ghost apparition guy who sort of blinks in and out. So then Dean calls Sam into his office, and we find out that Sam and Dean had both started at this company 3 weeks ago, which, like, Dean looks like he's a little comfortable for only being there 3 weeks, huh?
He would be. That's just how Dean rolls. Come on now.
Yeah. So they both
It's
have
it,
their.
it's like when he was the freaking gym coach at the school for that episode. Like
Oh yeah.
he slipped right the fuck into those shorts as fast as could be.
Yeah. He acts like he owns the place. So Dean asks him about his dreams, and he's like, "So your special visions? Are you a psychic?" And Sam says, "No, I'm not a psychic, but we know, like, Sam does have these psychic powers." That was a cool little throwback. But they find out that both of Sam's buddies who killed themselves had to go to HR, but they had to go to room 1444, and HR's
Which
on the 7th floor. So,
and what does 1444 add up to?
I have no idea.
13.
1444.
13.
Oh, okay. When you add them all, well, 14.
4 times 3
Yeah,
plus
yeah,
1.
13. Okay, yeah, I got you. And that's another fun thing is they used to not put 13th floors in. I didn't know if they were going to bring that one into this episode, but that would have been
Nah.
cool. But we find out that not only are they going to this 1444 office, but originally no, we'll get to that. So Sam and Dean break in and they're saving this dude. They go into the 1444 and this other dude was walking in there. So Sam and Dean break into the office and it's just like this old office. The TVs start going off and it looks like a storage closet. But the ghost is trying to attack this new dude we don't know. And Sam and Dean are fighting the ghost and Sam fucking swings a wrench at the ghost. And Dean asks, "How did you know ghosts are afraid of wrenches?" I thought that one was funny.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And then so then as they're walking out, Dean calls him Sammy, and Sam says, "Don't ever do that again." But then they're back at Dean's house, and they're investigating like ghosts and how to fight ghosts and shit. And this is when we find the real ghost hunters, ghost facers.
I forgot about that too. That was a perfect drop.
Oh yeah, so they're watching ghost facers YouTube videos, and then they find.
Don't be like those other two Don't be like those other two douchebags we met.
Yeah, Sam, and they mentioned Sam and Dean. They're douchebags. They do it like 3-4 times. But we find out that the ghost is P.T. Sandover, and this dude was like an uptight prick to spend his whole life working at this factory. And we find out that the building got added on to. So originally it was only 14 floors, and his was at the top. But there had been 17 suicides during the Great Depression alone at this building. And I thought that was pretty cool because this was 2009 and they talked about how we were in a recession then.
Sure.
I thought that was cool. They threw that in there because it was so long ago. But so now the ghost facers are talking about how much the Winchesters suck, and they're talking about how to use salt and iron, and the wrench was iron, not fucking. They're not afraid of wrenches. And Sam and Dean say, "Where do you even get a gun?" And it's like, I don't know. Isn't there a waiting list? How do you get a gun? So then they go back and they're breaking in and they're looking for, like, the dude was cremated, but they have to look for an article of, some of his DNA because this is what the ghost facers told them to do. So they're looking for that to fucking burn. And as they're in the room, Sam gets caught by the security, and they're going in the elevator. Security's bringing Sam down to call the police, and the fucking elevator freaks out, and they stop. The security guard opens the door, walks through the elevator, comes through. You think he's going to get cut in half at this point, and Sam's like, "No, I'll just wait." And then the security guard goes back in to drag Sam out, and it's cut in half. Blood all over Sam. So then Sam meets back up with Dean. They're in a hallway with like achievements of the office, and they see his gloves there. They smash open the window to grab the dude's gloves, and the ghost just starts attacking. And, it's back and forth, normal ghost fight scene. And then Sam burns the leather gloves with a lighter. Now, they didn't have any lighter fluid in this one. I'm calling bullshit on that. Only part of this episode.
Because the flames turned blue, I'm assuming that there was some kind of chemical already on the gloves from when the guy worked with them.
Maybe. So, they killed the ghost. The ghost disapparates. And Dean's like, "Man, I've never had this much fun." And Sam says, "We should do this for real." And Dean says, "What are we going to do? Drive around the country, hustling people for money, sleeping in shitty hotel rooms, fighting ghosts?" And without health insurance, Dean says. And then Sam tells him that you're in my dreams, except you were naked. And okay, so this is where Dean rejects that, like, the fake memories, and Dean breaks up with Sam at this point. He's like, "No, I'm not going to run off with you and do ghost hunting." So he goes back to his normal life. And Sam smashes his phone. He's sitting in his cubicle, and then he just smashes his phone with the fucking fireplace poker and quits. And at the same time, we see a character comes in and tells Dean he's got a promotion, and if he keeps this up and works long hours for the rest of his life, in like 8 to 9 years, he could be the assistant VP of something or whatever. And this is where Dean's like, "I shouldn't be doing this. This is not me. I'm sorry I turned down the promotion. I got to find out who I am, yada, yada, yada." And then the dude pokes him, and we find out this is the angel Zachariah, and he is above Castiel. And what do we got here? Should my douchebag? I don't know. Okay, so then we find out Dean's like, "Was this like an alternate timeline? What the fuck's going on?" And Zachariah tells him, "No, this was all real life. We just implanted 3 weeks worth of memories in your head, and you guys have actually been working here and doing this shit for 3 weeks. And you guys just chose to go back to hunting even when you had normal lives." And Dean's freaking out back to his why me? And that's when Zachariah tells him it's not a curse, it's a gift. Dun, dun, dun!
Yeah. Which this episode was definitely this episode was definitely it had a lot of fun parts, and it's always fun when they do something outside the normal in this show. So
yeah,
I enjoyed the fucking shit out of this episode. It was a really good episode, and I love and the actor who plays Zachariah has been in a lot of shit. He's hilarious. But
oh yeah, and he'll be back. He will definitely be back.
Oh god, yeah. So what would you rate this one?
I'd give it a 4.5. It was pretty fun. Not a lot wrong with it either. I might even rate it higher.
I'll give it a 4.3. I don't like doing 4. I don't like doing 4.5 or higher unless it's like actually like a storyline episode. But
Yeah, yours has a big teaser that we don't find out about for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, yours was good.
But yeah, oh shit, let's get into mine because mine's gonna take a minute, I think.
Yeah, a lot of storyline.
Yeah, so I have episode 18 of season 4, and it is called "The Monster at the End of the Book." End of this book. It's written by Julie Siege and Nancy Weiner, which I think that's Weiner. 2 new names. And it's directed by Mike Roll, which we've heard that name before, but the episode starts. The episode starts off. We see a man with a beard sleeping on his couch, surrounded by empties, and suddenly he starts having crazy dreams. He sees a motel room sign, a girl, the Impala, and Sam and Dean. And Sam and Dean happen to be investigating a haunting, and they go into a comic book shop to ask questions. And when the clerk sees them, he automatically assumes that they're LARPing, which Dean's like, "What the fuck is LARPing?" And he's like, "You're kidding me, right?" He's like, "You guys are doing it perfect." And Dean's like, "What is LARPing?" He's like, "Live action role playing." He's like, "You guys are basing it off that book series, right?" And he's like, "Here, I'll show you." And he walks over and he pulls a book out of the freaking 80% off bargain bin. And he starts introducing him to a series of books called Supernatural by Carver Edlund. And so the boys get all the books that this guy has, and and I forgot to mention, they introduce themselves as Agent Shaw and Agent DeYoung, which, for those who don't know, that's a Styx reference.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
The comic book guy even says, he's like, you guys were given last names of famous rock stars, just like in the books.
Yeah, I remember that part. I just not big on CIA rock stars from the 70s.
But so we then see the title scene, and we go back to the hotel room to see, and we see the boys sitting there reading the books, and they realize that the books are basically documenting their life for the last 4 years. And Sam finds an online fandom with both Sam girls and Dean girls and Slash fans, which Dean's like, "What's a Slash fan?" And Sam's like, "People who are into us." And he's like, "Even though we're and Dean's like, "Even though we're brothers?" And Sam's like, "Apparently it doesn't matter." And it's funny as fuck because if you look at the books they're reading, like they're all on the covers, like they're all
like muscular. Fabio.
They're muscular and shirtless in every cover. It's freaking hilarious.
Sam's got the hair that's like blowing 2 feet behind him.
And these fandoms will come up again in the future, folks. But so they want to figure out who's writing these books, but they try looking up the author, and Sam's like, it must just be his author name, his pseudonym, because there's nobody by that name that exists. So they track down the publisher of the books, who is a little cutie, and she tells him that the series hasn't been selling well, and complaining that people want now is stuff like Dr. Sexy MD, and that they had to stop putting out the books. Basically, they had to cancel the series, and she doesn't believe that they're fans until they start naming facts about their lives, including their birthdays and last names. And she freaking, sorry, Rocky fan, I don't think we're singing happy birthday to a bird. I haven't had any beer today. I haven't had any beer, and I would need some beer for that. Sorry, buddy. But, yeah. But after they give her enough facts, she starts to believe them, and then they whip out their tattoos. And that right there seals it. And I can't tell exactly what she's doing, but like she pulls down like something and lifts up her skirt and shows him her tattoo, which I'm guessing is on her ass. But
I would assume that's what I got out of it.
and yeah, and then she tells them that the books were written by Carver Edlund, who is really Chuck Shirley, the great Chuck Shirley, and we jump to Chuck's house again, and we see him sitting there writing his next book, adding his words, as he hears knocking on the door, and he answers it where Sam and Dean are standing there, and they introduce themselves as Sam and Dean. Chuck shuts the door on them, thinking they're just fans who need a life. They barge in and demand to learn how Chuck knows about their lives, and they have to convince him, too, that they are who they say they are. And then when they finally say, I'm Sam Winchester, this is my brother Dean Winchester, he's like, I never put the last name in the books.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when he realizes they're the real thing. And they also name some other things that he never put in the book either. So Chuck can't believe he's being confronted by characters he thought he made up. And he starts drinking heavily. And he tells them that the story's coming to him in visions. And his latest vision revealed that Lilith will visit Sam and that they will have a night of fiery demonic passion. And while Sam wants to go confront Lilith, Dean thinks they're not ready for that yet, and it's stupid as fuck to do that. And that they should avoid her by doing the opposite of everything Chuck has foreseen. It's opposite day from now on, he says. So they go to a hotel room at a hotel that is not the one Chuck saw, or so they think. And Dean's putting hex bags everywhere to hide from Lilith. And then Dean goes out to...
They read what they had read what was supposed to happen that day beforehand. So Dean's trying to do like the exact opposite of what's in the fucking pages that he wrote.
Exactly. And so Sam's like, yeah, Dean's like, oh, I saw that. It says we sit in the hotel all day. He's like, I'm going out. He's like, you're not going anywhere. You're here on house arrest for safety. And so Sam calls up Chuck once Dean leaves and tells him to ask him if he knows about him drinking demon blood, which he says he does, but he left it out of the books because he didn't think his readers would like it. And he confronts Sam about why he's doing it and starts naming off reasons why Sam would do it. At the same time, Dean's trying to avoid doing what Chuck foretold, but everything keeps happening no matter what. He gets hit by a minivan, and he wakes up. He wakes up to have pink band-aids all over his face, courtesy of, and he sees stars as he was told he was going to in the woman's earrings who was driving the van, and the back windshield of the Impala is broken and has a tarp flap like a batwing. Everything that Chuck said was going to happen happens.
I liked when Chuck was asking Sam, like, if he could go on or liked it or whatever, but Chuck brought up Bugs.
Yeah,
the episode Bugs.
And when they're in the publisher's office, she has like all the books in the shelf, and you see like all the titles of the past episodes. Like you see Bugs, you see like what's the other really crappy episode we had to watch? I forget what.
The racist truck, the scarecrow.
Yeah. Like they mention everything. Like everything lines up perfectly. And
I just like Bugs was like the worst episode. I'm surprised he brought that one up. I wonder if they brought it up because it was the worst.
Oh, they know. They know. But Dean shows up at Chuck's house and bursts in and accuses him of withholding information and is about to beat the shit out of him. And he's like, I got a gun. You gonna tell me what I want to know? And as he's about to beat the shit out of Chuck, all of a sudden he hears Castiel say, "Don't do it, Dean." And he tells Dean that Chuck is a prophet of God, which a first, because this is the first time we hear about prophets of God on this show. And he says that Chuck is protected by an archangel and that his books will one day be known as the Winchester Gospels. And Dean asks how they can stop the Sam Lilith makeout part, but Castiel says that whatever the prophet writes will come to pass no matter what. It's the golden lines of fate. Nothing is going to change it. And Dean's even like, he's like, this guy's a prophet, and Castiel's like, you should have met Luke or Paul, whatever the fuck name he says.
It was Luke, yeah.
Yeah. But Dean goes back to the hotel to find that Sam has burned all the hex bags so that Lilith will find him. And all pissed off, Dean tells him he's going to leave, but he changes his mind, just storms out into the parking lot. Dean's desperate at this point, so he actually tries praying, and Castiel appears while praising Dean for his new start of praying, saying that he's showing his faith finally. And Dean begs Castiel to help him stop Lilith, but he says he can't interfere because it's divine prophecy. Pissed off, again, Dean curses out Castiel and his god, and says that the day will come when he needs his help and Dean won't answer. As he goes to leave, Castiel stops him and gives Dean information on how to stop Lilith, revealing that the prophet is protected by an archangel, the most fearsome wrath of heaven, who will intervene if said prophet is threatened. So Dean comes up with the idea, and he thanks Castiel for the help, and the angel tells him good luck, and takes off. So Dean goes to Chuck's house, where he tells him that he needs him to go to the hotel where Lilith is. Which we should mention, because Chuck saw in the vision Red Hotel as the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go to this hotel with a fully different name. But then after Dean leaves, part of the sign breaks, and it ends up just saying Red Hotel, which is what Chuck saw.
Yeah, it's like most of the fucking sign.
Yep. So Dean's at Chuck's house, and he explains to him why he needs to go and help him with Lilith. Chuck says no, that he wasn't in the story, and that Dean tells him that if he doesn't go, he'll shoot him in the face. Chuck says that Dean can't because an archangel is protecting him. Dean says he'll have to see who's quicker on the draw, and Chuck's like, fuck. So he's like, all right, I'll go. And we go to the motel, and Sam hears a knock at the door. He goes to open it. No one's there. He turns around and shuts the door, and there is a beautiful woman there, and whose eyes roll back in her head, and she has white eyes completely. It's Lilith. And she asks Sam right away where the dagger is. And Sam tells her it's on the nightstand. Lilith starts walking over to go get it, but she stops when she gets to the rug. Looking down, she lifts up the rug to reveal a devil's trap. Because Sam thought she'd be that stupid. And she bends down. She bends down and burns part of it off just by touching it, so she can walk through it. And she sits on the bed and tells him that she'll stop breaking the 666 seals along with the entire apocalypse if Sam and Dean die. She taunts him, saying it's selfish for him not wanting to trade 2 lives for over $6 billion. And she tells him, but I can't. Oh, yeah. And she says, it's going once, going twice. Sam seems to start to agree to it. And she says, it'll take more than a kiss to seal a deal like this, big boy. But don't worry about the woman's body, who she's possessing, because the woman apparently wants it as badly as she does. Meaning this bitch is dripping. This bitch is dripping wet. But Lilith sits on the bed once again, and Sam falls, getting on top of her. How does Sam get to fuck all the demons? And she leans down as Sam suddenly reaches over to the nightstand and grabs Ruby dagger, trying to stab her with it. He fails, of course. And Lilith flips him over, holding the dagger over Sam. Jesus. And speaking of Jesus, just as she's about to stab him, Dean and Chuck bust in. Chuck runs in first and Dean follows. Chuck yells out, I am the prophet, Chuck. And Lilith hops off Sam with the dagger still in her hand, and she says, you've got to be joking. And the hotel starts to shake like fucking crazy as Lilith gets closer to Chuck, and he's like, oh, it's no joke. And Dean's like, Chuck here's got an archangel on his shoulder. The room continues to shake, a bright white light appears, and the ceiling starts crumbling down, pictures are falling off the wall, and Dean tells her she's about 10 seconds from becoming a piece of charcoal. She weighs her options as more ceiling falls off, and we see black smoke expelling from the woman's body as Lilith runs away. The woman's body hits the ground, and the lights all fade, and Sam and Dean are we come to see Sam and Dean later on talking about the whole thing. And Sam lies and says that he never even considered the deal, convinced she would only find a way out of it. Dean doesn't believe him. He knows demons never break deals, indicating he himself would have taken it to stop the apocalypse. And Sam, very, very all macho and tough, promises he will kill Lilith while Dean is just sitting there fearing that Sam would choose revenge over self-sacrifice. And the final scene we see is back at Chuck's house. Chuck's drinking again. And Zachariah shows up from last episode at Chuck's house after Chuck has another vision. And we don't see what Chuck saw, but he's all freaking out. And he wants to warn Sam and Dean, but Zachariah tells him not to, and that if he tries, he will be stopped. Chuck says, well, what if I go? Well, I'm going to go kill myself then. And Zachariah says, we'll bring you back to life. Don't worry about it. And Chuck is all pissed off. He's like, what should I do? And Zachariah just says, do what you always do. Right. Do your job, bitch. And
Chuck gave some big spoilers in this one I did not catch the first time I watched.
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty good storyline episode. Met a couple new characters.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a very important storyline episode that leads to a lot in the future. And we find out in this one that Lilith says, like, her death, she knows she's not going to survive the apocalypse because her death is the last seal needed to break free for Lucifer to come out. But
poor Lilith.
Yep.
We find out a little bit more about, well, not find out, but like when Chuck is questioning Sam, like Sam's really thinking about, am I doing the right thing? Drinking the blood.
Mm-hmm. And we also see that. And, oh yeah, it's funny as fuck when Chuck's telling them that like Sam's not asleep with Lilith, and Dean's like, but she's a little girl. And Chuck's like, not anymore. But I would give this episode honestly a 4.8. It's one of the best episodes of Supernatural.
Yeah, I'd be up there 4.5. It was good.
I mean, I love the episodes where it makes it so that like what they do is becoming like known by people, but like not really. But people think they know because it's all a book series, which will come up again, folks.
Yeah,
we've not seen the end of the Supernatural book series, but
and we'll find more of those slasher fans later on.
Oh God, yes. But folks, that's gonna do it for this week. Come back next time when we have at least one really good episode
on our Black Friday special.
Yep, Black Friday special. And
man, what?
Yeah, and actually, okay, we do have two pretty good episodes next week, so come back next week, folks, and check it out. Till then, have a good
Thanksgiving.
Yes, that too.